Cobra Interview March 15, 2015. Many thanks again to Cobra for the time given and the great answers. Who was Valiant Thor, where did he come from and where is he now?
Valiant Thor was a representative of the Galactic Confederation. He came to this solar system through a portal on planet Venus, and then on planet Earth he was having some contact in the US government, and he is now back on the motherships. He's located at the moment inside this solar system and he's taking part in the operations of clearing of the solar system.
Did he have to leave because the situation got too difficult here?
He left because his mission at that time was complete.
What kind of technology is inside the Millennium Dome in London?
I would say there is no particular special technology in that Millennium Dome. It is simply positioned on a vortex point and energetically it's like an acupuncture needle which helps to maintain the energy grid for the archons.
Do fairies exist all over the universe or do they have a specific origin?
Yes, they exist all over the universe.
How about unicorns?
They do not exist everywhere but they are quite universal. Like you have the humanoid archetype, you also have the horse-like archetype throughout the universe and it's quite common.
Did the asteroid belt used to be a planet that blew up?
It was a potential planet which never formed. It was not a planet exploded.
It can be difficult to imagine how life is on higher planes above the mental plane. Can you give some information about it?
Life on the planes beyond the mental plane is life in pure bliss and love. It is a life of absolutely positive existence.
So all the beings on Earth right now, are they existing on the planes above the mental, even archons and other dark beings?
There are some human beings that do exist on the higher mental plane but there would be no archons on the higher mental plane.
Okay. Not even the higher aspects of the soul of the archons live there?
Well, their soul aspect is present there but there is very small percentage of that being on the soul level.
Is there any photon outside the veil or is it just all tachyons?
Photons also exist outside the veil.
You mentioned in a previous post that every human being had an amoeba on the solar plexus on the etheric plane. Can you give an update on that situation?
That situation is a little bit better but not completely resolved.
Do Chimera and Archons work together or is there a hierarchy between them?
They have to cooperate in a certain way, and there is a certain hierarchy, but the Chimera tends to be more technologically oriented and the Archons are more, I would say, oriented towards controlling of the higher planes.
Are the Chimera present also on the non-physical planes?
Yes, there are some of them on the etheric plane.
Are Archons humanoid or do they have another form?
Those who are incarnated of course are in human bodies. Those who are non-physical, some of them keep that humanoid form and some of them choose to keep different shapes. Some of them tend to shape themselves in a more reptilian type body, but this is purely upon their choice. It is not something they are forced to do, it is something they choose to do.
Is it possible that one twin soul is ascended while the other half is not?
Yes, it's possible.
Can you explain why we use the blue color in the weekly meditation, for the pillar of light?
Because the blue color is the color which connects us to the galactic central sun.
Does the underground city that Marconi built in South America still exist?
That city is part of the Agarthan network and is connected with the resistance movement.
Is the Archon black box that you mentioned in a previous post still active?
The black box is not active anymore, but there is a certain aspect of the black stone which is still active. That black stone tends to keep the anomaly in place so that the light forces don't progress so fast. The black box was simply transmitting information from the etheric plane to the physical and the other way around.
What is the being shown in the movie series by Stephen Greer?
That being is actually part of one of the many species that have visited this planet.
Okay. Was it negative or positive?
No, it wasn't negative. There were many races which visited this planet out of curiosity, because they wanted to make some scientific discoveries, and they were pretty much neutral in their approach towards human beings. But those visitations were drastically reduced after 1996.
Oh, so it was pretty recent, like during the quarantine?
It is relatively recent, yes.
How many races are directly involved in the liberation of this planet?
I would say there are hundreds of thousands of different races involved in one way or the other in the liberation of this planet, but their operations are not so much focused on humanity alone. They are clearing the anomaly which surrounds this planet, and they are removing the cause of the primary anomaly, the cause of suffering and darkness. They are removing that.
Are they all from this galaxy and Andromeda or from other places as well?
Some of them are from other places as well, but beings from this galaxy and Andromeda galaxy tend to understand more what is happening here.
Okay. So beings from outside these galaxies, for them it's very foreign all this drama?
Also for many beings inside this galaxy this drama is very foreign. Actually it's also very foreign to me because darkness is something that should not exist, it's something that was never meant to exist, and is alien to most ancient beings in this universe.
Yes, the beings who are not directly involved, do they have knowledge of this? Do they have some sort of interest?
Every being in this universe needs to have a certain degree of understanding, and everybody has received simulations of how this feels like, so they understand to a certain degree, but many of them are not directly involved in the clearing of this.
Are all the beings who are helping in our liberation ascended?
Liberation from darkness does not necessarily mean ascension. Liberation of darkness simply means that you are no longer subjected to the primary anomaly, but you can still keep physical body, you can still keep awareness in this dimension, but you are not subjected to negativity or duality in the same way that people are on this planet.
So some Syrians and Pleiadians who are helping us, for example, are not ascended?
Syrians and Pleiadians as a race are not ascended, they still have a physical body, they still need to sleep and eat to a certain degree, but much less than people on this planet.
Are there 2 Sirius stars, or more?
There are actually 3 of them, and 2 of them have planets which are capable of supporting life.
Okay. And how many planets are there in total?
It depends how you define a planet. Scientists on Earth have a problem even defining what is a planet in this solar system.
The race of lion-headed beings, like Sekhmet, are they from Sirius?
Yes.
Since the universe expands and contracts, does that mean that it has a specific size and is not infinite?
Yes, materialized universe does have a specific size. Anything that is manifested is always subjected to limitations of space and time to a certain degree.
So what happens when you get to the border?
You cannot get to the border because space-time curvature provides that you are always somewhere within the universe, you are within the bubble, you cannot go outside because if you go to the border you would expand the creation itself.
Is there like a universal council, a structure that would gather representatives of the whole universe, like the Galactic Confederation but for the whole universe?
Yes, there is.
Okay, who are the beings called tall whites?
The tall whites is a generic term which mostly describes positive races like Pleiadians or Syrians. It's the term that some sections of the military use in their encounters with positive races.
Can you explain more about how humanity invited the dark forces at the beginning of the quarantine?
Actually, there was a certain period in Atlantis when human beings were curious and wanted to experience duality, so they signed contracts in which they volunteered to be implanted, and later also volunteered to invite the dark forces in exchange for more power and material wealth.
Can you explain more about what the Stargate is?
The Stargate is a very high frequency, higher dimensional stargate within the Orion constellation, which leads from this local sector of the galaxy, into higher cosmic planes.
Are Shiva and Shakti aspects of Osiris and Isis?
Shiva and Shakti are actually names which describe male and female aspects of creation.
Okay. Is Ganesha an aspect of Horus, or is it different?
Actually, you could say that Osiris is symbolic manifestation of male principle, and Isis symbolic manifestation of female principle, and Horus or Ganesha is symbolic representation of the child.
Okay. But ascended beings don't procreate, do they?
They don't need to procreate, but they can still hold a certain archetype of what they manifest. So there is an ascended master whose purpose is to activate the divine child in every human being, and that is Horus or Ganesha or any other names in different mythologies.
Can you talk a bit more about this archetype? What's its purpose?
The purpose of this archetype is to awaken the inner child, the innocence in every human being, because human beings have been programmed to suppress the inner child, because the inner child is our key to access the emotions, and when this access is not blocked, it is not possible to control and manipulate human beings. So the archons have done a lot to suppress the inner child, to control human population more easily.
Okay, so it's an archetype that's beyond the reincarnation cycle.
Yes, of course.
Do beings on other planets have similar languages to ours? Do some languages on Earth come from other planets?
Actually, languages on Earth developed from Pleiadian language, which when it came to Earth developed into Atlantean, and most of the languages on this planet originated from Atlantean.
So the Pleiadian language has common words with other star languages?
Yes.
Is the word OM universal?
Yes.
Do elephants have a specific star origin?
Elephants were actually part of genetic experimentation in the past, and were actually bred on this planet, but do have extraterrestrial DNA in their makeup.
How many people have been doing the weekly meditation recently?
Not that many, just a few thousand people, so this is far from the critical mass.
Okay. What is the situation in International Peace Garden?
That location is on a very important vortex point and is misused by the Cabal to continue controlling the energy grid, but can also be used by the light forces to liberate the energy grid.
How about the HARP base in Holt, Australia?
That base was used by the Chimera group in the past. That aspect of the base has been cleared, but it's still one of the most important stronghold of the negative military on this planet.
Can you explain what Hyperborean refers to?
It was a continent and a civilization on this planet in distant past.
Where was it located?
It was far north. Actually, you need to understand that the axis tilt of the Earth was different at that time. The axis has shifted many times and the planet has shifted many times in the last few millions of years. At that time the climate was different, it was more warm and more pleasant to sustain intelligent life.
So the North Pole has changed location?
Yes, of course.
How about the myth of Avalon? What were they referring to?
To Atlantis.
There has been lots of mention of Agarthan presence in North and South America and Asia, but little in Europe. Can you talk about their presence there?
There was also quite much of mention of Agarthan presence in Europe, but it's not that well known. Especially in local folklore tales in Central Europe, in Austria, Germany, Czech Republic, France, there are many legends about giants, about subterranean caverns and beings living there. There is evidence of Agarthan contact during World War II in Czech Republic. There are entrances on certain locations. I could mention Italy, the island of Malta, I could mention some other places, so there is quite much of Agarthan activity in Europe, but it's a little bit more hidden because the control of the Cabal, especially the control of the Archons, is quite strong.
Okay, so there's officially 350 kilometers of underground tunnels under Paris. Is that something that happens all over the planet or is it something specific?
Many major cities have vast tunnel networks: Paris, London, Rome, Naples, New York. Those cities are the ones with the most extensive tunnel systems of hundreds of kilometers.
What's the history of those tunnels? Who dug them?
There were many different groups who dug them. Some of them, those deeper underground, are ancient tunnels from Atlantis. Some of them were created in Roman times, and from Roman times on this network was extended. Some of them were built during World War II as air raid shelters. Some of them were built for military purposes after World War II. Some of them were built by mafia, some of them were built by the Cabal, so there are many interests groups that have used those tunnels for different purposes.
Do Agarthans live among us everywhere on the whole planet?
I would not release any intel about the Agarthan presence on the surface, but they use some of those tunnels, but not all of them.
Can you talk about the origin of the Order of the Star organization created by Krishnamurti?
Actually, he just revived an ancient Atlantean occult order, and the purpose of the Order of the Star was always to bring healing to humanity and end duality, to bring oneness back again. And Krishnamurti had a teacher on the physical plane that he was following for quite some time, and this is where he got his instructions to form, or shall we say revive, the Order of the Star. But later he chose his own path that led him away from that Order of the Star project into more direct experience of the truth. So that was one phase of his work which was finished to a certain point, and from then on he went into different projects on his path.
Why can't we see certain colors? Is it natural or because of darkness?
We can see the colors which the eye is able to receive. It depends on the structure of the eye, and on the wavelength of the light itself.
So it's a natural part of our body construct?
Yes.
And as you evolve you can start to see all the colors?
It is possible, yes, at a certain point.
Do you have any advice for entity removal and healing?
Entity removal can be done easily in nature, if you spend extended periods of time in nature, and drink pure water and eat healthy food for a certain period of time. Many entities will be removed from the body, but some of the entities need more drastic approach and a skilled practitioner to remove them. Also, there are plasma removal devices that can assist in removal of entities. The violet ray machine is one of them, and I have actually mentioned it and posted a link to it in one of my articles.
Can you talk about the effect of dolphin and whales singing on the planet?
The dolphins and whales are bringing energies of joy, and they are stabilizing the planetary energy grid of the planet, and they actually receive light from Sirius directly.
Are they on a different evolutionary path than humans, or can humans incarnate as dolphin and whales?
In most cases they are on different evolutionary path, but in some rare cases, humans can incarnate in dolphin bodies and the other way around, but it's extremely rare.
Much love and courage to everyone. I would like to make a call to light workers in the cities of Toronto, Montreal, Washington, D.C., and New York. I have been creating PFC groups and organizing physical grid work, light work on specific points of the grid, for 2 years, and I am now planning a trip to these cities to do exactly that. You can learn about this process here, about which Cobra said it is one of the most powerful thing we can do against the occupation of this planet. I have also been decoding the sacred geometry found in cities and sites around the planet. You will find some articles about it on the right side of this blog. For those who would like to participate, please contact me at untwine1@yahoo.com. A good friend is also gonna organize the same thing in Phoenix, Las Vegas, Salt Lake City and Denver. If you want to participate, you can contact him at per_netter_kemet@outlook.com. This will of course be a CO creation, and therefore the participation is free. We are also creating a grid work section directly on the PFC website, so if you want to participate from anywhere, please look here to create or join a local group, and we will update you when the grid work project is ready. And as usual, I want to share a song, but this time created by me. It was created using 432 Hz and Pythagorean music of the sphere tuning, and contains light codes sent by whales, who directly intervened in the making of this song so they could give you all a blessing. This song is part of my new sound healing CD, all created in 432 Hz Pythagorean sacred frequencies, and all created while making a conscious connection with various star systems, light beings, crystals, and other aspects of divinity. A very professional 28 pages scientific study has shown clear reducing of inflammation, stress levels, and other symptoms in listening to the frequencies I'm using only 3 times, for 35 minutes each time, during a 7 days period. You can read the whole study here. The CD includes 12 songs, plus 12 toning tools and a short e-book about sound healing. A lot of the attacks from the dark forces are frequency-based, and therefore these sacred frequencies can help. As you probably know, sound is majorly used by star races for healing and several other purposes. This music here is very suitable for healing practitioners, healing centers, and general daily life. I have been giving countless hours for the liberation of this planet, doing grid work in many countries, working for PFC, creating this blog and doing these interviews among other things, and it all takes a lot of energy and time, so if you feel guided to support what I do, you can get a powerful healing tool by doing so. Win-win. You can hear another song there. And you can download the whole CD package here. Enjoy.